I think.
Let's see what it says. All right. This is from our site? From Project B?
I don't think so. Lane wanted me to send it to you.
Well, cool. Yeah. Say what it says.
Okay.
Exciting stuff, Dan. How's your schedule, man? You still working, burning the candle both times, or what?
There is no end to end. It's just continuous.
Immunizations, vaccines, acceptance of physical responsibility. So, I believe all videos, images, and documents. Okay. Have you ever felt helpless when it comes to immunizations or vaccines? Why, yes, I have. Thank you, article. Have you ever felt that you are being forced to do something that you do not want to do? Yes. You are not alone. Yeah. Okay. This document gives you an arsenal that you can use if or when someone, any person of authority deems they have the right to force you or your family to get vaccinated against your will. Please read the document carefully and use when appropriate. What document?
So basically, there's a document that you can actually download.
You can actually go to the speakproject.net. We put this document up. This is to put the responsibility on the doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, if I'm going to get this, the doctor's responsible for whatever happens, right? I think that's a great idea.
Do you think doctors will actually sign it, though? That's the question.
No, because their liability is already out of this world, right? Their liability insurance. And that's kind of a cabal trick, too, right? Like come up with horrible things doctors have to do, then blame them for doing it. What would be a great one to do that with is oncologists, right? Because no oncologist actually, they were surveyed. Thousands of them were surveyed. Not one of them said that they would actually use oncology if they had cancer.
No, there's no cancer doctor that would do that. That would, yeah.
Right. No doctor in his right mind would get radiation poisoning to treat a disease that you could cure with frozen lemon zest. Okay, because there's so many different cures that you could use, right? For about hours a month, you can cure cancer. As long as you don't get radiation, don't get chemotherapy, but because there's not a cure for radiation poisoning, at least not one that your body will probably survive anytime soon, because it destroys all the cells in your body.
Right. I wouldn't do it. I've told my daughter that I'm never going to get cancer, but if I would never choose chemo or radiation. That's just my personal choice.
I would actually say that everyone has cancerous cells. Everyone.
Right.
And your body clears them out. Just the way it works. It's not it's not the cancer that everybody thinks it is. So there's that.
So what's the news?
So Dan,
sorry,
Dan, you missed the news. I haven't seen if you had any.
Oh, cool background. I like this one.
Yeah, transhumanism. I was looking for some images about transhumanism.
Do you have any reports on transhumanism, or is it just something you're thinking?
No, I had this in my arsenal of background, so I pulled it up. So
cool. There's this great flick on Netflix about this super transhuman robot who's like better than human, they say. And based on the way the movie's set up, it's like she kind of is better than human. I was really impressed. I could see how that would be a problem if there was a lot of her walking around.
Yeah.
She was flawless and then super intelligent. She would do anything for her family, all stuff like that. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. Everybody wants that, right? You want people in your life who are, on your side. So, real updates. I don't have anything from Kim. She went into hiding, not hiding, but I haven't spoken to her since yesterday briefly. And, I'm actually kind of fascinated to see what's happening, though, because you see the head of the IMF, they just took him out, right?
And the World Bank.
And the head of the World Bank, he just went down.
See, I missed that.
Yeah, well, you've been in the grind, man. Now the news is for you. I'm just here to update you. So I think that's a pretty significant confirmation of what we've been saying.
How are they out? I mean, what was the...
They've been replaced.
They've been replaced. Who did the replacing?
Probably Kim.
Probably, that's what we said. Probably Kim.
Yeah, they replaced them with, I believe it was trained poodles. They said they could do just the same thing that they've done so far, which is run the world into the ground. So, see how that goes. This is the doc.
Oh, also you missed Planned Parenthood news.
Oh yeah.
Dan,
President Trump did defund Planned Parenthood.
Oh, that's
partially. Yeah, $60 million dollars
good. Yeah.
a year. So that's a start, right?
Mhm.
I think they were getting 500 million now a year.
Well, what's interesting is there's actual a case on file that is investigating Planned Parenthood for violating the law to sell the aborted fetuses for profit. They're being investigated, and they're supposed to have a report on it, and they've never presented it. And this was challenged like 2 months ago.
Yes, by two senators.
Yeah.
And as you can see, that yielded immediate results. Right? 'Cause
Right.
They had till the beginning of July to respond, and it's been, I think, 2 years, and they haven't done it.
Well,
So this is how the corruption just keeps revealing itself, is that they won't do anything. These flagrantly disregard what they're supposed to be doing if it's not according to their agenda. Yes, they have
more
to go.
corrupt than anything else they do is that, I think, more than anything else, is that you have been, there's a case brought against you, and they just ignore it. Like, how can you just ignore what was told? Like, they would be on television everywhere, just stomping and throwing temper tantrums, blaming it on President Trump somehow.
I may have an answer. Actually. I found out that Maxine Waters is one of the things that makes her different, and what she does is she's the head of the banking committee in the House, right?
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. But what she actually also is a sovereign citizen, or not. That's not the right wording, but she's basically not under her standing is not that she is the trustee of this trust, so she's not doesn't have to obey all these rules. Only you have to obey these rules if you are in this citizenry, right? She's actually outside it. So I would believe that might be the case for a lot of the ones that are in the know, and say, well, yeah, we're ruling, right, from here, right, and everyone in there is those are just items on a shelf, and we make the rules on how we move things from the shelf to shelf.
Oh my gosh, Dan, that is a big reveal, man. Where did you see that?
In my head.
Okay.
Really? No, well, I know. Well, I just put the pieces together. I said this is what makes sense, because I know that the Maxine Waters was in that category. I just found out about that a few months ago.
Well, that does make sense though, because I know like the Rothschilds, they all thought they were sovereign. That's why they would get away with murder, right? Literally get away with murder. But in reality, they're all sub-sovereign, and all their sovereignty has been taken away. So I think they're back to slave status. I'll tell you though, I ask him about this regularly. Often, just for my own mentality, I'll be like, I want my sovereignty back. Because Kim did promise me that. And that was one of the first things she told me, that she didn't call it sovereignty. She said, you said you wanted freedom. And I'm like, you're damn right. So whatever we got to do, I'll go that path. Whatever we got to do. But
I raise my hand. I'm sovereign.
Yep. There's going to be, I did talk to the chief of the Maori. Well, I'm not sure now, because I'm so confused on this, but because there's lots of chiefs, but one of the chiefs, and I got to ask Tui about, is Chief Charles, and I talked to him without the bankers present yesterday for like 2 hours, and they're doing some amazing stuff that I can't talk about because I don't want to give up his game or anything, but really amazing, and a good guy. Really like trying to do the right thing, but I kept trying to tell him, I'm like, well, your best bet would be to go to the head of the United Nations directly, right? Which is Kim. So why not? Because technically, anybody who doesn't know, like, as long as there are 6 seats on the United Nations Security Council or on the United Nations Council that are held by the unknown country, but the it's the Man of World Holding Trust, right? So those 6 seats, which I many times asked him for one of those seats, right, at some point, if the UN still exists. But in those seats, the Rothschilds currently occupied, fraudulently, I might add, of course. So as long as they occupy those seats, then Kim is the head of the United Nations. That's how it works, right? Because the trust is the entity and the individual. The primary is,
Well, I
is the
think
head.
I think if we bring up the level of information to where people understand what's been going on, do we need the United Nations when maybe we need the United Countries, or maybe we need the United Societies, or something that's beyond what is there. We can look at it and point at it and say this is the debt-based system. That's how it's all about money and all about removing asset from everyone. It was collected over here. Now we're going to do something else.
Yeah. I think we go with the unified hemispheres of the brain or the unified consciousness of the people, right? If we were all seeing the same thing, if we all saw what's going on, and we realized, like, okay, we're this tiny little, piece of a massive, unlimited universe, and all they do is try to put us in a box inside of this, right? Maybe people will start to realize, like, we can do better than leveraging assets and being very average, letting people like Steve Mnuchin run the world.
Yeah, the thing is, the still leveraging assets. I think it's okay if the one that actually has created the asset is honored. And this is what the difference in the system is. It's like you've been convinced that you're not the one that is, to benefit from these assets, and that you're too stupid to manage them yourself. That's the other side of it, right? If people had to manage them, they would figure out pretty quickly after the few losses, hey, I better not do that anymore. So people can learn how to manage their assets.
Yeah, I mean, I think that should be something that is, people don't. I just think I have a problem with people turning over their sovereignty, with it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really how the
it's
gladiators were
true.
made, right? They had no way to pay their bills, so they sold themselves into slavery. That's basically what they've done to all of us, right?
Yeah. So that's. But if again reversing that flow, the existing system, it's basically it's supposed to be where the asset, the batteries, right, are us, right? So they're drawing down upon our energy. So if we're drawing down upon our energy, or basically using our energy to create asset collateralized items, it can be used and leveraged in the system, but we're getting the benefit. We're the ones that are actually then growing in value of what we're controlling. So the more we produce, the more things we have to then leverage. Now that it's the same system, it's just the changing of your standing from where you're the trustee to the beneficiary, and that's what I liked about Pantera de Oro is this particular tactic is really about declaring peace and say you won that game, but by the way you're the trustee, I'm not. I get the benefit. So that it's the system. It's just but it's the hiding of the truth of how it works is where they've maintained their power from the shadows. So bringing that to light, I think, actually is a very good start. Now, where we go from there is completely new, because now we have all this flowing into the hands of the people. Why do you need to borrow after that? If you have a card to pay for things, debit, is this you wouldn't need credit. It would all be debit off of your own account. So things still would work the same way. It's just that the people would be, oh my goodness.
Sorry, I need to scare you.
I know, that
I
was
just
like...
want you to know, she's sovereign. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not listening. I think that's an important to me.
I know, you just like wipe my energy out.
She's hot. I know. She's hot. She's smoking.
Oh yeah, it's just that's it.
She's a friend request and try to ask her on dates. She hasn't.
But this is something that is, I think, an educational issue, and once people realize this, and they can then benefit, and the system that's sitting there now starts having people's coffers fill up instead of drained. That's instead of it gathering all up at Kim's end, right? It all just now flows down into the hands of the people, which then that empowerment will then empower families, empower men to go out and create and make things, women to have the ability to stay home and nurture the children and raise the household.
Everything with women changes because now people can literally invest themselves in whatever they're creating.
Yes.
Versus the way it currently is like, okay, I work a full-time job, and anything I want to build, I spend all my free time that I should be with my kids, my family, whatever, trying to build something else. Whether it's, a hobby you want to turn into financial gain or a business, it doesn't matter. That's how it is for most people that aren't born into money, right? So, and the people that are born into money are also born into rape and bondage and murder, right? So it's like, I guess if the option is slavery versus that, it's hard to say. Like, I definitely would rather have the love that my parents provided me versus being born rich and grow up a sociopath.
Right, and that is the natural order of things, And it's not to say that women can't do jobs. That it's not about men's jobs and women's jobs. I mean, there are men's jobs.
What you're saying is that women can't work, right?
Women can. They can.
Okay,
work.
I guess I better go now. This is work.
No, women can work. I think
actually, Lisa agrees with this. She's a great woman to talk to this about and what you're saying. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So, since World War II, women were put to work, right? Because the men were all fighting, so the women were called upon to do the assembly line work. But
that's also when beers like Coors Light and Budweiser were created. Those are beers made for girls. Just FYI.
Yeah, I believe it. But then they took that idea and said, okay, now by having women do the same jobs as men, I mean the equality. You're not equal unless you're able to do the same jobs. Get the women out of the household and into the workforce, thus giving yourself two incomes. With two incomes, you can do much better. The problem is that only works for a very short period of time, because what happens is, like, say you're trying to buy a house, right? You can't buy a house with one income because you're just not there. But now your wife starts working, now you're putting your money together, and now you have enough income to make a purchase of a house. But the woman keeps working.
What sacrifice?
Right? But that's a sacrifice. But here's the other problem to that. That only works for a period of time. As more and more women enter the workforce, and now you have two income households as a standard, what happens to the price of the house? It goes up. So you really actually gained nothing. One household wage is really the best for a family and for a nation, yes, and for a society and for a world, is because then the function of a family can take place. The nurturing from the mother and the strength of the father to lead the direction. Then you have many people are able to then really concentrate on their children, or concentrate on the getting the house or the cars or the other side. So and it's a system that worked really well. But
I think it did. I also think your children have the opportunity to be more influenced by your values than, God forbid, what they're teaching in public schools today, right?
Yeah.
Because if that's your only time you have with your children is an hour after work to get them dinner and do their homework and bathe them and put them to bed, like, they're learning most of their stuff from school, and that would be horrific. And their friends aren't maybe even coherent or present at all, right?
Yeah, if you go back to, like, let's say the 1800s, right, and look at how schools were run, the kids were not there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Ridiculous,
Right.
Whole system is ridiculous. And then they come home and they have 2 more hours of homework.
Right.
And then you got to bathe them and do their, any chores, or God forbid you have to go to the store, do any errands. Like, your day's over.
Yeah.
You know what breaks my heart the most is when I see these, and I don't know what the solution is, other than people just not having children, which probably isn't a great solution. But when I see women having babies, that after 6 weeks they have to drop them in daycare, and they drop them at daycare at 6 weeks old, and they're gone for 10 hours a day. Like, to me, I would have chop my right arm off before I had done that to my daughter. I told my ex-husband, I don't care if where we live, what we do, I want to be home with her. And that's the one good thing I can say is he provided the ability for me to do that and to really be a full-time mom. I was in every sport. I was, soccer coach, and I sat on the bench for, was a team mom for baseball.
Soccer coach?
She played 12 years
that's
of
a guy's job.
Yeah, well, I was a bunch of little girls, but when she played baseball, I was, I did
That's your toxic
everything with her.
masculinity showing through. That's why.
Okay.
That's the problem. In
That's
the world
the
today,
problem.
not be half man, half whatever androgynous being Antifa squad. So.
Well,
So I think it's good to be home.
I think it's okay to have guys hanging out with guys, girls hanging out with girls, or guys doing guy talk and girls doing girls talks. We had our own ways of socializing within our groups, and that is something that's natural in every society that I've been around the world. The men and women, they gather together. Right, it's only when the husband and wife get together in the home that they're together and they manage to be a family. So that's what we really have to get back to. I'm not saying that it has to be knitting circles for women, or it has to be the hunting club for guys, but this is a natural order.
But it can't be the knitting club for men.
No, I can't. The knitting.
Actually, that's how Antifa was formed. I learned.
They were knitting their own caps.
Antifa was formed by a drag show that went horribly wrong.
I think they were knitting those pink kitty cat hats for those women that are wearing the pink hats. The knitted hats that look like cats.
Listen,
I don't know what they call themselves.
I know you think I'm kidding right now, right? Because that would make sense. But I have a call here from Antifa. The original founder called.
Let's see what's going on in WhatsApp.
Let's see where it is. Hang on a second. Where is it? Likewise. I'm in New York.
Or like,
here, listen. This is from.
So the audience was filled with fascists wearing their khaki pants, their button-down shirts, on their lunch breaks, staring at their laptop, awkwardly making us feel uncomfortable as we strutted up and down a group of 36-foot-plus tall men wearing size 15 heels, awkward terrorist costumes, and gas masks, and just amazing. It was an artistic triumph. And then this one man looked up and started laughing and hitting his friends and mocking Rajista. Rajista was broken-hearted. He had worked for months to create this outfit, mainly because he's one of the obese and intellectual, but that's not the point. He created the perfect jihadist fashion statement, and this fashionist did nothing but laugh. So we followed him out to his car, and we beat the living hell out of him with his own laptop. And that was the beginning of Antifa.
There you have it. That's directly from the founder of Antifa. So, and actually, apparently, I talked to him for a while, and apparently Antifa.
Oh, I thought that was a woman.
No, that was a man.
Okay.
Actually, so what happened, he explained it all to me. So Antifa actually stands for anti-fascists. And what he said is that all of Antifa started as a result of a drag show that was in Austin, Texas, at a cafe and rodeo that went horribly wrong. So he said they are anti-fascist, and anybody who has a boring fashion, they beat the hell out of them. So that's how it works.
You think that's how the mainstream media is, though? They distort everything.
Yeah. Exactly. We have now entered mainstream media. Maybe we'll talk about that. That's great. Yeah.
Well, at least our graphics have got a boost, so we're doing okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Actually, I like that logo behind you there.
I do too. I was just going to say that. I love the colors. I love it.
Now, it's funny. I have worked for years. I was like 4 years trying to find what was like right for everything to create change. it was going to be. And finally, when finally, like, I was like, yeah, this is it. So I'm thrilled about it too. So you got to see the like hidden message, right? Like I told you, you can see it. See down here, there's like a heart actually. When you see the whole logo, it actually says love. So
Okay.
everything built from love. But that's the hidden message. See, I figure I do what the cabal does, but I do it the right way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Point it out. And it's not.
Yeah. Well, I know today who's watching. You know, maybe a couple thousand people, but over time we'll be everywhere. People start to realize.
Oh,
They'll be
definitely.
looking for this because I'm going to make sure this gets buried. This will be the new lost episode of the Frontlines. So.
We're not recording. I mean, we're not. It'll be like a new one. It's like, oh no, where'd it go? All right.
So, Lisa, we got any more news? I think that's it. Yeah. Sorry for leaving you hanging, man. I thought he caught me on the Telegram.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what I
there
said.
is.
Yeah, it's all right.
We've
Next-
been
You got more news. Drop more news. Like that's,
No, okay. Well, I sent you a picture of something about the Clinton Epstein thing.
that's the thing.
It should be in the chat room.
Yeah, I think this. I think that this is really setting us all up. Well, it's in a good way to really say he was murdered. Right. The mainstream media will not be able to get away from it. Right. It's just like they're trying to run from it right now. The coroner said it's a suicide. Right. They're trying to run with every direction, bring out experts. They're trying to quiet down, but it's just going to get louder and louder, and then everyone will say, he was murdered. Who did it? That's the opening, right? That's okay. Let's look.
I think when Hillary Clinton got up at his funeral, because Hillary Clinton, after 30 years of service to self, she keeps on bringing the hits, right? So she puts the fun in funeral. So she gets up there and says,
Who was that?
Epstein's death brings echoes of silence. And she said, and hopefully it'll bring others, inspire others to be silent as well. Because she's like, yeah, shut him up. Take that. It's funny.
That was me.
I did. I'm pulling it up right now. That's why I'm filibustering here, talking.
Okay.
This is 10,000.
Oh.
Sorry. Can you hear that? I don't.
No. Yeah, we heard something, but I thought I just sent you a meme, so it didn't have a voice.
Well, I was gonna pull this.
It might be something else I sent.
Nah, I'm gonna see what this guy has to say quick.
Okay.
Because they're giving me a timestamp. I like that. 5:45 right here.
Oh, the Able Danger one. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
That does sound interesting. Let's see what Able Danger has to say. You can go to Able Danger. What's his thing called? Now, Able Danger is still promoting the RV, right? That's his stuff.
Oh, I don't know if he still is doing that. I'll have to check.
I heard the RV is on again.
The RV's on! The RV versus the truth. Who's got it? Is it Tank? Is it all the random people in the RV? We'll find out.
The Blue Wolf.
Find out what Dan Lutz has to say about it.
Yeah. It's a lie. GCR, the big lie.
The big lie. Dan, yeah, I know. And my credibility, though, right? Lisa, my credibility in that world is shot, right?
According to a few, that your reputation in the RV world, Tank, is not very good.
Yeah. Well, that's a world of a lot of broke people that are waiting around for their stuff. Too bad. Okay, well, I'm going to show this real quick. Again, this is Able Danger here. What's that?
Sure.
Here we go. All right, Able Danger has to say this about it, I guess.
He says, listen from 5:45.
Did I step and say pedophile?
Yeah.
Oh, I should have said pedophile Pence. Yeah, we're really afraid of you. So anyway, the pedophile Pence has already been relieved of his duties, I believe. I believe he's being held somewhere, and he might have body doubles showing up, but the eyes don't look right, because the real Pence has one set of eyes, and at least one of his stand-ins. They're not going to away this. It's sort of like whatever happened to Jeffrey Epstein. All the libtards, I'm totally political, because I would certainly say reptards. So if you're a
That
Republican,
was really political. Yeah, he seems it. Okay, go ahead.
Democrat, in your own mind and heart, you really don't understand what's going on. It's divide and conquer. It's two sick wings of a real sick bird. You see the flies around here? That real sick bird. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, whoever posted that. That's not very adequate. Let me find out who posted that. I'll thank you, seriously. Oh, doesn't surprise me. I would have guessed Eager Beaver, whose name is,
Okay.
I never use real names, but let's
I don't
just say
feel
his
so
name
bad.
could have been Gordon Butler. And the other name that I never did, like Bill and Susan. Did you see Bill and Susan here in Coon Rapids a little bit ago? Yeah. Nobody needs to get in trouble, but loose lips sink ships. So, I believe that Donald and Melania. Are you trying to cut my time? No. Yeah. Anyway, upstage you. If you promise to show your property, in fact, why don't you come talk about anything you want to talk about? You want to sit here and talk so they can see it better?
I think it's important that they see the fire in your eyes.
I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
You're going to say something about Mr. and Mrs. Trump, but go ahead.
Well, a lot of people don't know where Trump fits into Scottish history, and a lot of people don't know where Melania fits in USSR history, or Russian Federation history. And once they start the election process, which is going to be probably in less than 90 days, because once the republic is established, I didn't say restored, because I'm not sure we ever had a constitutional republic, but maybe we did, maybe we didn't. But we're going to have one now. And
I will donate my liver if that happens. Good.
part of the global currency reset and all this global fix, there has to be an election in the United States.
Also, I will give my liver if the global currency reset happens.
America within 120 days. And so what I'm saying is if that McConnell and Trump poster has any values, I'm going to ask, in fact, I don't know who made it, although I think I do. My computer knows. Whoever made that McConnell-Trump wingman poster, could you now go back and put in 2019, because the JFK Jr. Trump-McConnell election will be taking place. Let's see, this is August, so it's September. Yeah, we're going to have an election before. Yeah, that's Trump, JFK Jr. Now, would Trump like me to be his wingman? I'm 100% confident he would, but I'm doing a better job freelancing than I could if I had to wear a coat and tie. So, JFK Jr. would heal the nation.
What? This is Abel Danger? He's trying to say.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think I would have just read what he said. That would have probably played that. But
What is? Yeah, tell me what he says, Lisa. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought there was some value to this. I thought, we'll get to say it
it's
itself.
intense.
But
It says, I have been listening to Phil O'Connell, Able Danger, and according to him, in 90 days, America will finally be a proper republic. Supposedly, monster pedophile Pence is already gone, and we only see his clones. I wonder if his wife and children never look in. And of course, JFK will replace Pence and Trump. Don't believe, listen for yourself. Still waiting for, so this is, I think, the interesting part. Still waiting for Timothy Charles Holseth to provide real evidence of where, when, and how he Pence raped 186 children, like he claims. Maybe Pence's clones do. So, Timothy Holseth just got out of jail, and he's waiting trial. And they're trying to get a bunch of people to the court to support him. But evidently, he got jailed for saying just that Pence is a pedophile.
we do have tape that can prove that beyond a shadow of doubt and evidence. Just FYI, anybody out there.
Well, he did receive an envelope in the George Bush funeral.
So he was their pocket guy, right? But I know for a fact, we do have that.
That's true.
As our own insurance, if they ever try to mess with us, it's one of the many things we hold back. Because honestly, I think it would do more damage than good right now as long as they have it under control. But I don't know about 186 children, but I know he definitely has participated in some pedophilia.
So they're suggesting that maybe he had the same destiny as George Bush Sr. and who's the other one, McCain.
Yes, we really taught George Bush Sr. a lesson when he made him die of old age. That's right. Fear our wrath. Way to go, guys. Way to wait him out. Come on. We didn't do shit. We didn't do anything against these guys. They live to be 80 years old, 85, 90 years old. Like, you know, we don't, like, their destiny is like to wait us out, do a trillion big damage, a million lives in the meantime of, you know, kids that grow up completely broken and hating authority figures because of people like him. I mean, you know, some of the things that we call a victory are a joke. It's just a joke. Like, stop. We need to raise the bar a little bit, okay? Weeding out a career pedophile who was actively participating in the assassination of one president, in the Iranian-Contra affair, you know, to remove a sitting president. So, I mean, a million things. I mean, raping kids in the White House to sway votes, you know, bragging about the New World Order in front of us, like, hey, screw all of you. And then we taught him a lesson, though, by making him die of old age. He didn't do it.
Well, I think some people believe that he was put to death. Him and the
So,
kid put to death.
he was put to death when he was in a wheelchair doing nothing. Either
Yeah,
way.
that's true.
It's like, now we're going to euthanize you. Take the big deal. Like, he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
take him out
no
of his prime.
yeah, there's no way that we can ever have complete, you know, vindication of for all the people that were affected by the things that he's done. You know, that because he has a lifetime of orchestrating the enslavement of humanity. You know, and what can you do to him other than believe that he's in a hell of his own making? You know, because you know now he's created. He expected the one world order to be in place, and now you know in the afterlife, you know, no one shows up for his tea party.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I know. It's what can you get? What can you get out of it?
yeah, no, you're right. You're right with those guys. But you know what? When Hillary Clinton can get up at Epstein's funeral and put out a threat to the entire pedophile cabal world, right? The whole underground criminal Illuminati order of rainbows and darkness, right? Like, when she puts out there to all of them, like, look, his death echoes in silence, and hopefully it will inspire others to be silent as well. She is threatening everyone. And you know what? Most people don't realize she's powerless. And she can't do anything. Because she just recently had people killed, right? Or somehow inspired them to kill themselves or whatever, you know? But all this stuff, the reality is, why? How is she able to even use a phone? Like, this woman shouldn't be. There's so much evidence on Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. And, I mean, there's books written about the brutal rape. I mean, one of many he was a part of. How he evaded it. We have evidence. I mean, we have a truckload of evidence on the Clintons alone. It's like anybody else would be in prison by now. But the reason why they're not is because they're currently on a speaking tour to change the world, right? To what? You know, Haiti is in a state of genocide, and these jackasses have an event coming up to celebrate them lighting up all the islands because what a wonderful job the Clinton Foundation did in Haiti. Meanwhile, you've got, you know, whole villages of kids being held hostage just for the rich elites to come in on boats and take all these kids out of the boat to rape them, right? For a kid party. You know, make sure they have kids there for the rich elites to rape. And who wants to? That's my worst nightmare. To be on a boat and suddenly I find out like they brought kids in to be raped. What? How does that happen? You know, it's like.
Yeah, no, I mean you'd have to not then act out again. You'd have to turn it into like a, you know, Rambo, right, and go off on them because otherwise they're going to take you out.
Well, if I was ever on a boat like that, I'm sure at that point in my life I would have my own security. And my security, I would make sure that they were like a combination of like superpowered ninjas with like, you know, that were bulletproof, and I would order them to go execute all those guys.
You just need
And
one
leave it
Rambo.
overseas.
You just need one Rambo.
Yeah, man, but Rambo got all jacked up and beat up. You know, I'd rather just have my guys do it. Like,
I have a comment about the Clintons. If you want to just put it out there for me, okay?
oh, you have a. I'm like, say it.
No, I want everyone to. This is just my statement on the Clintons.
Excellent. I will share it. I love.
I should tweet this and have it go viral, just, you know, for my own protection.
That's excellent. It's opening now, very slowly. Yeah, I'm frozen. I'm always making great faces when I get frozen. It's awesome. Aha, wait, no, that's Candace Owens.
It's the last one in chat.
Oh, there it is. Here we go. And this goes here. And this is directly from Lisa. I don't know anything about the Clintons. Just putting this out now there for my own safety. Yes.
I just don't want
Because
to be on the bad list of them. So I'm just for my own safety. I'm putting it out there.
you know what? Because there's some solid evidence that backs that up. You might have seen this statistic because this is important to remember. You are now statistically more likely to be killed by Hillary Clinton than by the measles. So there is not, however, a vaccine for Hillary Clinton. She is an all-consuming virus.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's disgusting.
This one makes me laugh every time. It's just so damn funny. Oh, God.
Oh, well, if all they have to do is say you have to get lined up for the vaccinations against Hillary Clinton, then everyone would get in line. They would have no problem getting vaccinations out.
Right.
No, it's true, actually. But then what would end up happening is, like, you'd be in, like, a line or, like, a firing line. You're like, oh, she got us again. That blasted Hillary.
So I'm going to
Darn
read,
it.
to finish off with Hillary, I'm going to read a tweet that's no longer available. But remember we talked last week about CMEX and CMEX and all of that stuff? So they wiped this from Twitter, and so I can't really pull it up, so I'm just going to read it. There's a concrete way you can help immigrant children and their families at the border today. The Trump administration wants to change regulations to allow indefinite detention. Make a public comment to DHS about why you oppose this policy. She wants people to fight on behalf of DHS. She wants to file a complaint. Wants people to go into DHS and file a complaint to stop Trump, which is really just hurting her child trafficking business.
So the thing is that there's the even saying that it's detention is wrong because they're not being detained; they're being prevented from entering the rest of the country. The door opens to Mexico; they can go back. They're not detained from going back.
I think they were coding that there's a word cement in there, DHS, you know, all of that stuff. So there's just some secret code in her. So they've wiped that from the Twitter.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, all this stuff is going on. It just, it's like the Soylent Green stuff, or like, who knew the epicenter for like the most horrifying aspects of everything is going to be up in like one of the most beautiful parts of the world, in like Portland, and it's such a beautiful place. In San Francisco, I was watching some of the like just craziness that's going on there. It's like how does this happen? I mean, it takes such complete indifference for something like this to happen, like where you just have people completely like mounting up in poverty and drug abuse, right? Like it doesn't happen just but through drug dealers that are being hunted as criminals, right? It happens by the government legally, participating in, creating, producing, and distributing illegal drugs to make sure that people are getting messed up, and then intentionally ignoring the state as if it doesn't affect them, right? Like it doesn't happen without some coordinated effort. Is what I'm saying.
Right. Exactly. So that's all I have on the Clintons today. It's just a safety measure.
Outstanding.
I'm sure you're now safe.
I feel like I mean the fact that we do shows every night of the week, and I always consistently regularly talk smack about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. I don't think that'll have any bearing on you, Lisa, whatsoever.
I don't think so either. I'm safe.
They can die. So, but we'll keep continuing. Actually, I think I'm going to call Michelle Walker. She has crazy juice on the Clintons right now. I might have to bring that out because we're going to start talking about.
She did want to know when you were available for a show. Just so you know.
Well, apparently in about 10 minutes.
Perfect.
All right, Dan, we're going to let you get back to work, man.
Yeah,
Sorry for
it's
coming
clean.
out late.
They're chasing me now.
And Lisa, thank you for making the front line the more bearable place. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
All right, have a good night.
And thanks to Joshua Conway for his participation in this show.
Oh, yeah. Josh Conway for Congress, just for the record.
Oh, I didn't know. I just saw him there the whole show. I didn't hear from him. All right, bye.
Have a good night, everybody.